Terrie Moore, and I'm the Executive Director for the Sooke Fine Arts Show, Sooke Fine Arts Society. This is our 35th year of hosting the Sooke Fine Arts Show in Sooke. It's our second year of doing things quite differently. I'd also like to introduce, beside me is Elaine Thrale, who is our Vice President of the organization. Normally we take over the arena in Sooke for about 11 days in the middle of the summer. And we have over 9,000 people come through to take a look at the approximately 380 pieces of artwork of all types that are displayed in the show. It's a juried show, meaning that there are jurors who take a look at the pieces prior to and end up choosing which ones they believe are the best, so that will enter the show. So a couple of years ago, we were forced into making a big decision. And that is when COVID came, because it was very obvious that we wouldn't be able to have a live show having people come into the arena. We weren't even sure if we'd be able to get the arena because it was being used for other purposes, including as a shelter.
It's quite interesting what we were faced with, because we already had a budget in place, assuming that we were having a live show before the pandemic hit. And then what we were faced with was the fact that we couldn't do that anymore. So were we going to be able to mount any kind of show and still maintain a profile in the community and provide platforms for the artists to showcase their work and hopefully earn some income? We had already been looking at a possibility of having online sales with our live show, so we were already thinking along those lines. So what we ended up with was finally deciding that yes, we would go with an online show and do whatever it took to make that happen. And the biggest obstacle to that, of course, was there was so much to learn. And it was difficult for the board to learn a lot of things, but it was, really a challenge that was put upon Terrie and our events coordinator, Jen Hayward. And they really, took that ball and ran with it and actually learned a tremendous amount. The result of all of this was we felt like we were still engaged in the community. We felt that the community still realized that we were there and we were working on their behalf. And we're pretty proud of what we actually achieved at the end of all of this, because we still had almost the same number of artists who were submitting to the show.
Yes.
We had far more people actually seeing this art because we were going far beyond just
do it. But what we actually, in essence, did was to create a website that was a whole show within 6 or 7 weeks, which is something that normally you would do over 6 or 7 months. So it was incredibly compressed to do that. So it took us a lot of time and energy learning how to even do that. The biggest thing, as Elaine mentioned, we were able to continue to support the artists, and they really truly appreciated that. We were continue to keep our profile up in the community, so people still remember us and still come back to the live show when it happens. And then we were still also able to engage some of our volunteers. A show this size takes over 300 volunteers to put on. We obviously didn't use 300 volunteers when we were putting the online show together, but we did use a fair number of them, and they were still willing to work with us and be a part of the show. This show is a source of pride for the community, and people feel vast ownership over it, and they want to see it continue. The other thing that we did was to try and institute some in-person things that would fit within the COVID rules at the time. So 2 of those things, the first one was a street signs youth art project. So it used some just found materials, leftover paints, pieces of board, and 3 mentors. Timothy Wilson Hoy, Sean O'Keefe, and Axel Tutton were the 3 mentors that just showed some young people how to go about doing this and doing it in a respectful manner to the community and respectful manner to the climate. So that was really a popular thing, because we were able to hold it outdoors and not worry too much about masks and things like that. So some of the artworks up on the top part here are the youth artworks that were awarded in the show. So some of the changes have been wonderful. We've been able to carry them on through, but there's nothing like a live show, and we really truly hope we'll be back to a live show next summer, people being able to walk into our transformed arena and see all the art pieces that are going to be there.
as representing the board, I would just like to, thank our, wonderful Terrie Moore and Jen Hayward, who are the people who've done most of the work for all of these last 2 years, and they've done a tremendous job for us, and we're just so thrilled to have them. So
Thanks.
I think Sooke is very lucky all around.
Mm.
Well, welcome to Sooke, and great to see some of our locals out here. Really appreciate the Sooke Fine Arts Society for finding an innovative way to provide this venue here. Beautiful natural setting to hopefully provide some inspiration and diverse complexities in our community that may also provide some interesting inspiration as well.